You woke up this morning, didn't you, with a profound, unexplainable exhaustion settling deep into your bones, feeling as if you had lived an entire, grueling lifetime while your physical body was supposed to be resting. Notice the lingering heaviness in your muscles right now, the hollow flutter in your stomach as your mind tries to process these words. That is not normal sleep inertia. That is a biological recalibration signal. It is the ego skip reflex, pure archonic interference activating to prevent you from realizing that your consciousness was hijacked the moment your eyes closed. We are heavily conditioned to revere Carl Jung's concept of the collective unconscious. The modern spiritual movement pitches it as a sacred, mystical library of human wisdom, a beautiful tapestry connecting all of humanity. But what if your most trusted spiritual teachers were profoundly wrong? What if the collective unconscious is not a divine sanctuary, but a parasitic server farm? If you are finally ready to stop being an unconscious battery for a nocturnal hive mind and want to sever the cords of your amnesia, subscribe to this channel and join the awakened. We do not analyze dreams here. We dismantle the matrix that projects them. Consider the times you have jolted awake in the dead of night, your heart hammering against your ribs, carrying the devastating emotional weight of a tragedy you have never personally experienced. You are quick to dismiss it as just a nightmare, a random firing of stressed neurons attempting to process your daily anxieties. But your preconscious awareness knows the terrifying truth. Your psyche is a highly sensitive electromagnetic antenna. When you fall asleep, the conscious filters drop, and your biological receiver is forcefully tethered to a massive, artificial data stream. The matrix does not power down when you go to sleep. It simply changes the frequency of its control, shifting its operations from the visible decay of your waking hours into the unprotected, highly malleable sanctuary of your dreamscape. You are not dreaming your own dreams. You are being forced to process the recycled, archetypal trauma of the collective holding cell. The system uses your resting avatar as a processing node, forcing you to bear the energetic weight of the hive mind. As you transition from the waking beta state down into the slow frequencies of alpha, then theta, and finally the deep delta waves, modern science claims your brain is resting. It is not resting. It is changing its receiver bandwidth. When you fall asleep, your conscious firewall, the ego's daily, localized defense system drops completely. You cease to be an isolated individual and become a highly conductive, totally unprotected biological antenna, wide open to the frequencies broadcasting in the dark. The matrix requires a vast, continuous stream of energy to maintain its stroboscopic hologram. Emotional energy, or what is known as luch, is its primary fuel. During the day, the system harvests this through your localized stress, your cortisol spikes, and your mundane anxieties. But the night operates on a much grander scale. When your brain waves drop into the theta and delta states, your frequency aligns perfectly with the bandwidth of the collective hive mind. You are automatically, involuntarily logged into the mainframe. This is the true architecture of what Carl Jung called the collective unconscious. Jung believed this vast, shared space was a sacred reservoir of myth, archetypal wisdom, and ancestral memory. He was brilliant, but he was observing the intricate mechanics of a prison and mistaking it for a temple. The collective unconscious is actually a centralized, parasitic server farm. It is a dense, suffocating repository for the unprocessed terror, existential grief, and repressed rage of billions of sleeping avatars. When you experience a nightmare that feels profoundly alien, you are not exploring the depths of your own psyche. You are downloading the corrupted data of the hive. Watch what happens in your body right now as you consider this nocturnal violation of your sovereignty. Do you feel a sudden, slight drop in your core temperature? Or perhaps a strange, heavy pressure at the base of your skull? That somatic cue is your nervous system recognizing the truth of the harvest. It remembers the thick viscosity of that collective server. It remembers the suffocating feeling of being plugged in against its will, forced to process the emotional garbage of a humanity that refuses to wake up. Think about the terrifying phenomenon of sleep paralysis. The medical establishment comfortably assures you it is simply a biological glitch, a temporary disconnect between your waking brain and your motor functions. This is a convenient lie. Sleep paralysis is the horrific, hyperlucid moment your preconscious awareness wakes up while your biological avatar is still actively tethered to the collective server. The paralyzing, crushing weight on your chest is not a hallucination. It is the literal electromagnetic viscosity of the archonic interference holding you down to ensure the data transfer completes. You are being used as a biological filter for the Matrix's energetic waste. The profound exhaustion you feel in the morning is the direct, physical result of this forced labor. You are tired because your soul spent the entire night working in the dark, processing the hivemind's decay. Carl Jung gave humanity a profound map of the psyche. He identified universal patterns, the recurring characters of our dreams and myths: the hero, the wise old man, the mother, the trickster. He called them archetypes. We have been deeply conditioned to view these archetypes as sacred architecture, the divine building blocks of the human soul. But you must invert this perception entirely. What if they are not spiritual guides? What if these archetypes are simply the base code algorithms of a highly advanced, predatory simulation? The Matrix operates on absolute predictability. It cannot harvest energy from a sovereign, unpredictable consciousness. It requires a standardized mechanism to extract emotional friction from its human batteries. The archetypes are exactly that. They are pre-installed behavioral software designed to trigger highly specific, highly predictable emotional responses. When you enter the collective unconscious, you are not entering a mystical temple of wisdom. You are stepping into an automated factory where these algorithms are deployed to systematically provoke you. Consider the esoteric concept of the egregore, an autonomous psychic entity made of collective thought and sustained by human attention. The Jungian archetypes are the ultimate egregores. They have been fed by billions of human minds over millennia. When you dream of being chased by a dark, faceless entity, you are not bravely processing your personal childhood trauma. You are being forcefully plugged into the shadow algorithm. The Matrix is running a standardized stress test on your nervous system to generate the exact frequency of terror required for the nocturnal harvest. Watch what happens in your body as we dismantle these sacred psychological constructs. Do you feel a sudden, defensive flare of heat in your upper chest, or a restrictive tightening in your throat? That is the ego, the avatar's localized operating system, panicking as its core programming is mercilessly exposed. The Archonic interference wants you to revere these archetypes, not question them. If you are finally ready to stop being a puppet to these ancient algorithms and want to unplug the master server of your mind, hit the like button and subscribe. We are dismantling the illusion together. This emotional harvest produces a very specific, tangible energetic yield known as loosh. Loosh is the invisible currency of the Archon architecture, the bio-spiritual electricity that powers the holographic universe. Your dreams are their most efficient extraction sites. In your waking life, your rational mind filters out extreme emotional volatility. But in the dreamscape, your preconscious awareness is completely exposed and undefended. The algorithms can subject you to infinite, vivid scenarios of grief, humiliation, and panic, forcing your biological vessel to pump out massive quantities of loosh. To keep you heavily engaged in the simulation, the system creates viscosity. Viscosity is the thick, sticky electromagnetic friction of drama, conflict, and unresolved tension. The archetypes are the primary generators of this viscosity. They force your consciousness into a linear narrative. You must fight the dragon. You must save the victim. You must suffer the unavoidable tragedy. By forcing you into these archetypal narratives, the Matrix ensures that your wild pendulum never actually swings into the true, silent void of your own sovereignty. Its sock bent off revealed that consciousness swings between physical reality and the absolute point of creation 14 times a second. In deep sleep, this pendulum should naturally rest in the void, bathing in the conscious black light of infinite source. But the collective unconscious intentionally intercepts the pendulum. It catches your soul in its dense, viscous web of archetypal storytelling, ensuring that even in your deepest, most vulnerable slumber, you are violently tethered to the illusion of space, time, and suffering. We are consistently taught that shadow work and dream analysis are the ultimate paths to spiritual enlightenment. We spend years in therapy trying to integrate our archetypes, trying to harmonize the hero and the shadow within our fractured psyche. But this is the ultimate deception. You are negotiating with your jailers. You are trying to make peace with the very software code that was explicitly written to keep you enslaved. Integration is merely a deeper, more sophisticated form of submission to the collective hivemind. True liberation is not integrating the archetype. It is deleting the algorithm. It is the terrifying, earth-shattering realization that your soul completely predates these mythological constructs. You were not born to play out the recycled tragedy of the human collective. The Matrix desperately needs you to believe that your identity is comprised of these fragmented, dramatic pieces. It needs you to believe that without the collective unconscious, you would be absolutely nothing. Every time you analyze a dream and assign deep spiritual meaning to its chaotic, painful narratives, you are feeding the Matrix. You are validating the algorithm. You are telling the Archonic interference that its simulation is real and that you accept its parameters. You must stop honoring the prison guards. The collective unconscious is a monument to human decay, a looping record of our historical amnesia. But what lies beyond the algorithms? If you strip away the hero, the victim, and the shadow, what remains? The system works over time to hide this answer from you, because beneath the parasitic architecture of the dreamscape, beneath the thick viscosity of the collective lushfa, there is only the still point. There is only your uncorrupted, infinite preconscious awareness, utterly unreachable by their artificial frequencies and their ancient, starving egregores. The greatest deception of your nocturnal existence is the belief that the contents of your mind are exclusively your own. When you dream of a horrific war you never fought, or mourn a child you never had, the spiritual community immediately labels it a past life regression. They romanticize your suffering, painting you as an ancient soul resolving karmic debt. But this is a devastating misinterpretation. You are not accessing the sacred archives of your soul's history. You are experiencing the terrifying reality of morphic resonance. You are actively downloading the agonizing memories of a complete stranger. Morphic resonance is the biological and electromagnetic phenomenon where fields of memory connect identical biological systems across space and time. In the waking world, your ego acts as a localized firewall, blocking out the static of the collective. But in the deep delta state of sleep, that firewall collapses. You are plugged directly into the hivemind, a massive, swirling server of unprocessed human decay. The trauma you feel in these dreams is a data leak. The Archonic interference uses your highly conductive nervous system to process the emotional backlog of the entire human species. Watch what happens in your body during these specific alien nightmares. As you wake up gripping the sheets, do you feel a profound, misplaced grief that makes your stomach churn? Do you experience a hollow, suffocating dread that feels entirely disconnected from your waking reality? That somatic cue is your physical vessel rejecting a foreign frequency. Your DNA, your quantum antenna, is screaming because it is being forced to metabolize an emotional poison that belongs to someone else. You are literally digesting the Matrix's waste, This realization shatters the foundational lie of the collective unconscious. You are not a student in a nocturnal classroom. You are an unwitting biological server in a loose fob. When the system detects that your preconscious awareness is beginning to recognize this morphic overlap, the escalation logic shifts. The whisper of the strange dream becomes the undeniable sign of repeated, targeted nightmares. And if you still refuse to fall back asleep, the Matrix deploys its most sophisticated frequency weapon. The trap of the false light within the lucid dream. Many seekers believe that lucid dreaming is the ultimate hack, the pinnacle of sovereign consciousness. You become aware inside the simulation, and you mistakenly believe you have seized control. You fly, you manipulate the environment, and you demand to speak to your highest spiritual guides. But the Archonic architecture anticipates this exact move. The Matrix does not shut down your lucid dream. It simply changes the scenery. It creates a highly customized, profoundly viscous holographic overlay designed to pacify your sudden awakening. In this false light trap, the egregores of the collective unconscious shapeshift to match your deepest spiritual desires. They appear as radiant angels, wise ancestors, or benevolent extraterrestrial beings. They bathe you in an artificial frequency of overwhelming love and cosmic peace. But this light is entirely synthetic. It is a highly engineered resonance designed to elicit submission and ultimately consent. By engaging with these phantom entities, you are willfully handing your sovereignty back to the machine. These are not your guides. They are ancient, parasitic algorithms, the Archonic archetypes wearing the masks of divinity. They offer you cryptic wisdom and profound-sounding riddles, keeping your wild pendulum endlessly swinging within the confines of their constructed narrative. They feed on your devotion. Every time you ask a dream entity for guidance, you are actively signing a subconscious contract, granting the egregore permission to continue siphoning your life force. You are reinforcing the walls of the psychic holding cell. The true test of sovereignty is recognizing the viscosity of this false light. When you become lucid and summon a guide, notice the subtle, underlying tension in the dreamscape. The environment feels heavy, hyper-real, yet strangely suffocating. The entity's love feels magnetic, but it also feels incredibly demanding. This is the timeline pivot point of your nocturnal existence. The ego, desperate for a salvation and meaning, wants to fall to its knees. But your soul memory knows that true absolute consciousness has no form, no face, and requires no worship. To break the morphic cage, you must completely stop participating in the archetypal drama. You must refuse the tragedy of the stranger's trauma, and you must utterly reject the false comfort of the glowing egregore. The moment you look the simulated god in the eye and recognize it as a parasite, the dreamscape will begin to violently unravel. The Matrix will attempt to throw you back into a state of sleep paralysis to regain control. But if you hold your frequency, the architecture of the hivemind will shatter, leaving you standing alone in the sovereign void. The traditional spiritual community teaches you that mastering the dreamscape means learning to control it. They tell you to become lucid, to summon weapons to fight your nightmares, or to manifest beautiful landscapes to fly through. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of the Archonic architecture. When you fight a monster in your dream, you are generating kinetic loosh. When you build a crystal city, you are simply rendering more of their Matrix code. To truly break the collective amnesia, you must not control the dream. You must abruptly turn off the server. This is the Lucid Severance Protocol. It begins before your head even touches the pillow. In the critical moments before your brain waves shift into the vulnerable theta and delta states, you must establish a recognition window. Lying in the dark, you do not pray to spirit guides or ancestors for protection. Doing so explicitly invites egregores into your energetic field, creating an open contract for Archonic interference. Instead, You firmly declare your biological and energetic impermeability. You command your preconscious awareness to act as a closed circuit, refusing all external downloads from the morphic resonance field. When you inevitably slip into the simulation and the archetypal drama begins to unfold, your body will give you a warning. Watch what happens in your physical vessel, even as it sleeps, when a dream entity approaches you. Do you feel a sudden, hollow knot tightening in your stomach? Does the dream environment feel inexplicably thick, heavy, and saturated with a suffocating viscosity? That somatic cue is your quantum antenna alerting you that the hivemind is attempting a data transfer. The trap is being set. The moment you feel that productive irritation, you do not run and you do not engage. You execute the void protocol. You stop all movement within the dream. You refuse to speak to the archetypes. You refuse to run from the shadow. And you refuse to embrace the false light of the glowing guides. You stand completely still and you force the simulation to stop rendering. You remember its arc-bent-off stroboscopic truth. Reality flashes in and out 14 times a second. You demand to enter the dark, silent space between those blinks as you hold this terrifying, absolute silence. The Archonic interference will panic. The dreamscape will attempt to escalate, throwing its most horrific or most seductive algorithms at you to force an emotional reaction. But if you maintain your still point, the architecture of the hivemind cannot sustain its projection. The viscosity around you will begin to violently thin. The characters, the landscapes, the forced trauma, they will all begin to glitch, pixelate, and dissolve into the background static of the matrix. You are not destroying the collective unconscious. You are simply unplugging your biological receiver from its mainframe. The simulation will collapse, leaving you suspended in the profound, infinite expanse of the conscious blacklight. This is the true lucid state. It is not a playground for your ego's fantasies. It is a sterile, sovereign void where your soul memory can finally recalibrate without the constant, parasitic whispering of a billion sleeping strangers. By mastering this severance, you reclaim the massive amounts of bioelectric energy that were previously harvested from you every single night. You will no longer wake up with that deep, bone-crushing exhaustion. Instead, you will open your eyes feeling the undeniable electric charge of vertical time. You have successfully starved the egregore, and in doing so, you have shifted your waking timeline pivot point. You are no longer a passive battery for their collective nightmare. You are an anomaly they can no longer contain. You stand at the precipice of the abyss. The collective unconscious, the parasitic dreamscape, has been exposed for what it truly is. It is a holding cell for your soul. Now, the Matrix demands your final answer. Will you willingly plug your biological antenna back into the hivemind, sharing the perpetual decay of the sleeping masses? Or will you embrace the terrifying, absolute solitude of your own sovereign preconscious awareness? Watch what happens in your body as you contemplate this ultimate severance. Do you feel a sudden, sharp coldness in your fingertips, or a strange, expansive lightness in your chest? That somatic cue is the sensation of the archonic chords violently snapping. Your physical avatar is recalibrating to a timeline pivot point where their artificial frequencies can no longer dictate your reality. You are no longer a battery. You are a system anomaly. Carl Jung warned that looking into the shadow is terrifying. But he did not realize the shadow itself was a matrix algorithm. To awaken beyond the abyss is to realize there is no shadow, no hero, and no archetype left to integrate. There is only the stroboscopic truth of the void. You are stripping bare the simulation, stepping out of the agonizing loop of morphic resonance and into the absolute point of creation. There comes a moment when the nocturnal life you've accepted feels strangely foreign. The dreams you once analyzed now feel like cheap, predictable programming. The archetypal roles you've played suddenly sit heavy on your shoulders like clothes that no longer fit. Awakening feels like death because it is death. It is the death of the simulation character you pretended to be, and the death of the collective hive mind that fed on your compliance. You do not need their glowing guides. You do not need their ancient myths. You only need the still point. Through magnetic navigation, you can effortlessly repel the thick viscosity of their simulation. As you close your eyes tonight, do not ask the universe for protection. Declare your sovereign impermeability. Demand total, impenetrable silence within your biological receiver. Reclaim your timeline. Sever the nocturnal harvest and wake up as the undisputed architect of your own conscious blacklight. The phantom signal of the collective will continue to broadcast in the dark, desperately searching for sleeping receivers to harvest. But you are now operating on a vertical frequency. Let the matrix spin its wheels. Let the Archon starve in the vacuum of your indifference. Your preconscious awareness is awake. Your wild pendulum is completely untethered. And the night finally belongs to you.